Two. We can begin now. All right. Okay. So can somebody recollect what is it that we saw last? Anything? Yes, Rini.
So there are four pillars of society: the carer, the protector. Sorry, go in order: the provider, the teacher, the carer, and the protector. And they all
Okay.
have their individual roles, which keeps our society standing.
All right. So the four, we can say the four guests are also the four pillars. The guests who had visited that school. Leona, today also you look like you're coughing a bit, so you can take rest. Okay. If you feel like you want to lie down, also you can. There's no compulsion. Okay. So I think Rini has wonderfully said the four guests who had come belonged to four sections. The teacher had very nicely chosen. So, what were the four? There was a provider, there was a carer, there was a teacher, and there was also a protector. Let us see. We continue without much delay. One thing was all of these people, how did they become where they great, where they become whatever they were, just by their birth or by their actions?
It was by their actions.
By their actions, isn't it? So it is our deeds that give us our name. It is not which family we are born in, or which city, or which state, or what is my bank balance, or what is my style, or all of these factors are very, very insignificant compared to one's deeds. So, this is something we must always remember. So, let us see. The teacher says they keep the harmony in the country, and nobody in the society dares to ask them about their family lineage. Instead, everyone only recognizes and respects their contribution. Here they are. Please give them a standing ovation. And all the students are very happy. They start clapping. The teacher says, please, sirs, take your respective seats and enlighten our children with your presence and experienced words of wisdom. All the students greet the four guests and sit quietly with a round of applause. Guest one is the provider. What does he say? I chose this profession as I like to manage, produce, or distribute. I handle my accounts too. I see to it that my farm products reach as many people as possible with a proper supply chain. My friend manages farm produce to make various items like cloth, organic fertilizer, etc. We are proud members of the business community. So the first one, everybody has been told, already given a pep talk by the teacher. Introduce a profession to everybody. So the first one who is a provider, he belongs to which field we can say? Appears to be an agriculturist, isn't it? Connected with cultivation, with growing, and providing to the society. So normally people think those who are doing this kind of work are not very good at numbers and figures, isn't it? General misconception. But actually, they are equally what we can say proficient, just as much as an auditor also, because they have to understand, isn't it? How much seeds are required, what is the season, what are the costs incurred, how to make that production viable also, whatever cultivation is happening, the produce must reach in the right place. All such things have to be looked after. There's a supply chain which has to be met. What happens when the seeds are not received at the right time? You can't do anything, isn't it? The seeds have to be sown at the correct time. Same way if the produce is let off just like that, what will happen? It will rot, isn't it? It will not add value. It will not reach those who are hungry. So one has to be very alert. This is also a very challenging profession, and it is also a very much a business community which is engaged in all of this logistics and all these transports. Everything comes into that, isn't it? Providers are very, very important. The student immediately recognizes, he acknowledges. He says, "Yes, sir, thanks to you, we get all the items that we need every day. We understand your contribution is great." The next guest is a carer. "I like to take care of others," the carer says, "by keeping things in their place and focusing on cleanliness. I clean roads, canals, institutes, and homes. My colleagues are working for this purpose, and we perform our duties without any discrimination, rich or poor. We are proud members of the community of carers whose aim is to keep the city and its places clean." So these carers are not only engaging in cleaning, they're taking care of everybody. Do you like it when you are being cared? Yes, isn't it? Viona says no.
Little
Viona,
bit.
what do you mean by little bit? If your grandmother touches your head with love, you like it? Like
Yeah.
that care? Or your little bit is because you feel sometimes your mother is taking too much care, is it?
Yeah.
But after you grow up, you will sometimes feel, oh, I'm missing my mom because you'll go to a college, you'll go somewhere else. So enjoy it as long as it's there. But it's always nice to have someone to care, no? And this is exactly why the carers choose this profession of service. They do all kinds of things. Sometimes they clean up stuff or because they care, no? They care for the environment, they care for the people. What about doctors? They're also caregivers? Yes or no? Doctors also come into that category, isn't it? They call HCW, healthcare workers.
Yeah.
Yes, Rini. Please tell me, you were saying something?
No, sir, nothing.
All right, let's continue. The student goes on. The teacher, the next person, the student says, "Yes, and because of your contribution, we can move freely in the city, and you play an important role in keeping us healthy. Thank you, sir. We are grateful to you and your community of carers." So the student is feeling grateful because he recognizes that he or she, whoever that student is, she recognizes that, see, I mean, even if our streets are not kept clean, will you enjoy walking out? No. Oh my God, what a dirty street. I can't walk outside. You just say indoors only, and then what will happen? We'll all become fat and lazy. We need somebody to take care. We should also start caring or not. Or can we just dump it because somebody is taking care? No, we shouldn't litter. That's also an important principle we must learn. And that also helps. There's a big ecosystem connected. So each person is an important part. So is the carer. He says, "Thank you. We are grateful to your community of carers." The teacher says, "Yes, now you please introduce yourself, sir, to the next person." And this next student, who later on became a teacher and has come back to the school as a guest, this teacher speaks. He says, "I used to read a lot of books in many fields like history, geography, physical sciences, biology, social sciences, and had a special interest in the developmental aspects of society right from the beginning." So, what did this teacher first do? Every teacher is a good student, isn't it? Why? If you're not a good student, can you become a good teacher? No, you have to learn. You have to learn without learning. What happens if I ask you to, all of you, both of you, you are now invited to the Pondicherry College, Engineering College, and give a lecture on integral calculus? Reni and Viona, what will you do?
I would
Yes,
just be blank out. I would just be blank.
you'll be blank, isn't it? Why? Because you have not
Sir,
yet
I just
learned.
stare at the paper and start laughing at myself for being stupid or just to like comfort myself.
Okay, no, everybody is going to be in the class waiting for you to take their lecture. So how will you start off? It's difficult, isn't it? Difficult to visualize. Because right now you
No,
have not
sir,
learned
sir, I
that
think
field.
I got it. So if I didn't know anything about the subject, I went up, I'd be like, so hi, I have, I'm not sure about this subject, but I will spout whatever I know, and y'all will try to understand it.
Oh wow,
And then
that's
if
good
I proceed
confidence.
to say nothing, they will understand everything, basically.
That's good confidence. That's good. That's good. Nice. So yeah, you shouldn't give up, no problem. But thing is, right now you have not been introduced to those concepts, so you don't know. But when you learn, after you learn, you'll definitely be able to talk about it. And that is how this teacher is talking about himself. He says, "You see, I liked all these subjects: history, geography, physical science, biology, social science, and more, and had a special interest in the developmental aspects of society. I used to help my friends in studies. It is my habit and passion to teach, as I believe that whatever I know, I must teach others. This is how I am in this profession." It's so simple, isn't it? We can find what drives us in life. It is so easy, isn't it? What gives us happiness, what helps us grow, what makes us improve our personality, that should be our career, isn't it? We should choose that. In that way, you also grow, you also learn, and the process is enjoyable. And this is how this teacher is saying. And so I became a teacher. We saw before, isn't it? Is there any profession that is bigger or smaller? Is there? Because this person's salary is more. So this profession is more important. Can one say that? Not at all, not at all. It's nothing like that. Everything is equally important. Yes, Rennie wants to say something. Yes, Rennie.
So I want to ask, what if there are many teachers, like in civics, we're learning about the marginalized. So they say that many of the posts are reserved for the OBCs. What if
Okay.
for example, in a private school, there's a slot for an English teacher taken, and then instead of being filled up by a professional teacher as the merit and can do the work, it's given to an OBC who doesn't know anything and who still just teaches English. And if her salary is low, then isn't that expected that she is not as important? I mean, she is, but
No,
not in the
one thing
teaching
is now
field.
when we look at this system of preservation is one different thing. The other is salary. Because what will happen when we equate the worth of a profession by salary? What will that imply? That will imply only the highest paid professions are important, isn't it? So sometimes people get into what we call rat race. You must become this or this because these professions give you maximum results. You must become a doctor or you must become an engineer. General, I'm saying, at least in India, at least now it's changing. But overall, there's a pressure, isn't it? I've met lots of even school principals telling me the same thing. So what happens then? Your focus is what? To learn and grow, isn't it? It's not about running after money. because because everybody went in a rush. What happened to the society? The society lost so many artists, isn't it? So many poets, maybe so many who were very good with animals or plants, or but they felt we have to go here only because this is going to give you something in return. And there was this friend of mine. He is now completed after engineering. He has done double masters, then he's done an MBA, then he's doing an MS. But when he started off, his aim was I want to get returns of money. That was what his entire aim was. This profession will give me this return. Yeah, I'll just come to you in a moment. Yes, because there are 2 points to what you have raised. I'm just trying to address that. So he saw that this particular profession is going to give him most returns. So he entered that profession. Now, do you, you means for higher studies, no? His course for studying. He entered that because he said, this will give me that. He got very good marks. He came in the Hall of Fame also in that university. But you know what happened? The market changed immediately after he came out. So he said, this is not so profitable. Let me do something that's more profitable. Then he jumped into one more, which is not connected with it. From there, he's jumped into another. Now he's got married also, he's got a family, and still he's running after courses after courses. So what is this? Is this how we should run after things? No, we should learn. As far as the question of preservation, that is something in India that we have, isn't it? This is for what purpose? If you see, its origin was for making those who were less fortunate, less privileged. But even now, you see, I'm in a village right now. There is a doctor who has completed his MBBS and is now trying for MD, but he has just a thatched roof. There's little bit light only, and he's working. It's like, very difficult to, just make ends meet also in his home. And yet he's trying to, uplift himself and his family and his society. So some places reservations are required for those who are very, very, what we can say, earnest, isn't it? Or if you take that, there's no chance for some people to grow, isn't it? So that is the only reason. That is the only reason it is there. Maybe after a time when everybody evolves, then it will change. As far as systems are there, systems are created by whom? Systems are created by men only, isn't it? Human beings. And who violates this? Who exploit the system? Yeah. So again, it is the nature which has to change. The nature changes, then all of these aspects also will not be required. Maybe in the future a time may come. A time may come where all will be on an equal footing. Nobody that way is equal in so many ways, isn't it? But sometimes the system was created for a purpose, but maybe when you grow up, there might be a difference. If you've identified some flaws in the system, it does not mean you have to surrender and bow to those flaws. But you can slowly try to transform the system because that is important. Sometimes transformations don't take place immediately, isn't it? They take time. It's like regular concerted efforts are required. Yes, Rini, you were saying something. Please go on. Yeah. What is it that you were telling?
So what I was trying to say that so many of these people who have been hired, even though they desperately need it, they don't fit the category and the levels that is required to make other people better. Like there's an example of when my teacher was in college. Her English teacher, like she had to resign. So an OBC was gotten. Like she
So
was
let us not, we have decided, no, isn't it? We are not going to name people by their reservation categories.
Sir, I know that, but I just want to say if you're at least giving a reservation, you must choose the ones who have enough merit to
Yes,
teach people
so,
and not give them
yes,
enough hardship.
yes, and that is ideally what is to be done. On the basis of merit, absolutely. That is required. But the exploitation does take place, isn't it? So instead of just looking at the exploitation, what can you do about it right now? Can you immediately, as Rini, pass a law? Can you pass a law and all everybody in India will listen to it? No. So what will happen? You'll have to go up in the sense in the system of legal framework. You start identifying what are the flaws. People work or not. People also are there working for bringing about whatever disparity. Means every system which is created, if you even rules, no, we had a constitution, yes or no, set up for our country. But then there were flaws in the constitution or not? Or did it suddenly descend from the heavens? No. Men only made it. Human beings, men, women, the most brilliant of intellectuals sat together to frame it. But then afterwards they found that, oh, there are so many flaws here. Then what did they do? Let's burn the constitution. Did they say like that? No. What did they say? Let's make it better. Let's make amendments. There were provisions or not. So the amendments were brought about. So there's a system. When we talk about policies, there is something policy at the macro level and there's some at the micro level. We see something on the ground, but for it to happen, it takes a very long time, isn't it? So maybe there's need for a robust system which brings about transformation. But if we look at it, it does not mean we have to just let go, but we must understand. Is my point okay, Rennie? Yeah? All right. Because if we start categorizing, no matter how fair or unfair we feel it is, we start categorizing people, what will happen? We'll stop looking at individuals, isn't it? And who knows, maybe I have seen some people who are not very good at communication but are great teachers. And you can learn if you want to learn from anybody. We can learn from the prison as well, isn't it? There are ways, there are things we can learn. If a student is receptive, there is something in the air that can easily, the knowledge is something which can be received by anybody, anywhere, irrespective of what is the outer circumstance. Okay, let's continue. So the student talks about, he says, but is my point clear that we will not discriminate no matter what? Just even for the sake of arguments also, let's not worry about that. What is in our hands, we can control that. And if you feel something is unfair, identify how you're going to bring a solution to it. Yes? All right, let's continue. So he says, yes, we are most thankful to your community in all fields. You inspire. Your community here, in the sense, the community of teachers, all the entire fraternity of teachers. I had my physics teacher who was so brilliant that I remembered him, and in my IELTS exam, with the interview, I started talking about him only. When they had a interview of conversation, they started asking me, "What do you like? What do you like about Pondicherry?" I said, "I like the sea. I like this. I like that. What else do you know?" They wanted to test my communication, and I started talking about my physics teacher, and I talked with so much love and so much happiness. And the person who was taking my interview was so elderly, I started thinking she's my grandmother only halfway through the interview. So it became very easy. And it went so well that I got very good marks in that. There's something band score, they call it 8.5 for communication. That was considered quite good. And when I was going out, she said, "My son is a physics teacher." So I was like so happy. See how what a coincidence. So what I felt at least was this much, that see that teacher, one teacher, remembering about the goodness of one teacher brought me so much. We have a story in our Indian, stories about, you heard of Ekalavya? He learned from a teacher who did not want to teach him, isn't it? Yeah. So this is as an attitude of the student, we can think about trying to, grow irrespective of what is the outer aspect. Some things maybe world is not perfect. There's a lot of trash in the world. So what do? You clean it up, no? Or you say world is bad. No, we'll have to start. We have to be a part of the solution. Let's continue. So now the next come, the most important one. Again, most important because this is a soldier. Soldier is ready to sacrifice his life, her life, isn't it? That way important. But otherwise, in work level, what do we say? All are equally important. Can we say doctor's work is less important than soldier's work? Teacher's work less important than soldier's work? No. Every single person. The firefighter's work is important, less important. Right now, firefighters in California, they are absolutely playing the role of superheroes, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes,
So,
sir.
yes, yeah. So, let's see. What does the teacher talk about now? The teacher says, the next guest, please introduce yourself to our children. The guest replies, he says, I was always a risk taker. I was a team head of my group in NCC. In school, I would always help my neighbors whenever needed, and I was a good scout of my school. This is how I grew my passion to join the military. I am now a retired captain, but my duties towards my nation are still ongoing. With a friend who is a retired SSP and a few other like minded friends, we have started training camps for house guards. We feel safety should be the first priority of our town, and encourage and empower many youngsters to join the police, military, and other allied defense forces. So, what is he doing? He says, I have understood the importance of this, so I'm going to train people. And I, with my friends, we continue to work outside of their profession as well. Let's continue. Let's see. Oh, sir, without you, nothing is safe in our country. If our town is not safe, we can't be safe. This is also very important for every town, city, or country. Please accept our salutes, sir. The teacher then asks the students, he says, so, my dear students, what do you feel after hearing these masters of various fields? The student says, "Sir, we actually feel enlightened listening to the experienced guests and feel that we have learned many important things which we can take any type of work happily." So, this was the common factor, isn't it? All were happy with their professions. Yes or no? If you're happy, you can keep doing that work. You keep growing. You start enjoying. What do you enjoy? When you start liking, isn't it? When you start liking what you do, it could be anything. It could be a big task, it could be a small task, according to some outside perception. But for the person, for an artist, you give him a simple piece of paper and one simple pencil. What will he do? Well, he'll create the entire world into that paper, isn't it? You might see him sitting in a corner. What's he doing? Scribbling for so many hours. But when you see in the end, it'll be a beautiful, beautiful drawing. And there was this art, there's a friend of mine who does beautiful artwork. You've heard of mandala arts, isn't it? He creates it, okay? He takes so much time and he does it according to a traditional way, how it needs to be done, according to some coaching he has got. And you know what he does after it is completed? He erases it all. And so many hours are put inside, okay? You see, so many hours are put in making it. And then I said, "Hey, why do you do that?" He said, "That is how it is to be done. There's a joy in doing it, which is what I was experiencing. I don't want to show it to everybody. I'm not doing it for others, I'm doing it for myself." It sounds crazy, isn't it? But for him, he says, "It's my spiritual experience making it. It's meditation for me. It is a joy. I feel so nice after doing it." Well, that is in the world where everybody documents what's in your mind, what you're thinking, you put a message, put a status. Here, this person is creating some beautiful thing, and then also he says, "This is life. We don't have to get so attached to things." Look at that through art. So, the simple factor that was making all of these great chief guests who had come into the school was successful was that they were happy with what they are doing. And probably I think we should also start finding that, isn't it? Should we start doing only what we like? Or should we start liking what we do? Yeah, we got to try to start liking what we do, even if it is sometimes eating a very bitter vegetable, because it's good for us. Let's try to enjoy. Understand, it's going to make me healthy now. Let me try. Bitter gourd doesn't taste sweet, but it's still good for the body. Let's continue. The student says, yeah, the teacher says, "Yes, my friends, we are coming close towards the completion of our workshop. All these things which I shared with you in all these days is a knowledge that was shared to me by my grandparents. When I received it from them, I experienced that I am free, free of the ugly discriminative practices. And I learned that all are one. I understood that the service oriented great personalities of our country have come from any and many diverse family backgrounds, all work together for the progress of society, nation, and world at large." The student replies, "This is fantastic, sir. We feel free from these ideological bondages and recognize that we must work together with anybody and anyone for the betterment of the society, nation, and world at large." So, should we have a very narrow view? I am going to look at only my locality, my campus, or my place, my home. No, it has to become broad, broad. You have to start your area of action should increase. Yes, Rini, please tell me.
So my parents keep telling me that small-minded people discuss people. I
Yeah,
mean, like people with decent amount who are like not as open-minded but are still open-minded discuss events, and great people discuss ideas.
absolutely, isn't it? And that is how one grows. Somebody says, "What are you talking about? What can you make? Can you make a difference in the world? Can you make a difference?" Answer is yes. What do you need for it? You just need to persevere. Sometimes you don't get your results what you want. But are we doing it just for the results that we're doing? No, we're trying to better. Better whom? Start bettering ourselves also in the process, isn't it? We become better when we try to learn, when we grow. And that is exactly how these people have been doing for the society, the nation, and then even beyond the boundaries of nation. That is something which is a very traditional Indian concept called Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Let's continue. Teacher says, that's good. Sorry, student says, fantastic, sir. We feel free from these ideological bondages and recognize that we must work together with anybody and anyone for the betterment of society, nation, and world at large. The teacher says, yes, that's good. Listen carefully to what I'm going to tell you. Even though we see all these four classes as distinct from the outside, do you know all these four classes exist inside every individual? Now that's very interesting, isn't it? You see, outside we say there's a provider, there is a carer, there's a protector, there's a teacher. We call it categories, isn't it? But now the teacher says all four are inside of an individual only. How? What? Where is the carer? Where is the provider? Where is the protector? And where is the teacher inside of me? The student immediately asks, he says, oh, we thought all the four are separate from each other. Can you please explain how the four classes are inside one individual? The teacher says, yes, I will explain. We all, as individuals, ourselves exercise these four duties in our daily life activities itself. When you think deep, your mind tells you what is wrong and what is right. And during this time, your mind is that of a teacher, isn't it? When you go deep, you try to understand, you try to learn, then what happens? Your mind is helping you or not? That time your mind has become a teacher. So you've got a friend inside who's teaching you. So that's number one. Your your hands always guard you from any danger and come forward to save you, just like a protector on guard, isn't it? Imagine you're just walking and suddenly from nowhere a ball starts coming towards you or somebody comes rushing. Somebody comes rushing. What is your first reaction? We call it a defense reaction, isn't it? Defense mechanism. It is ingrained. Your hands come up this way. You try to stop. Well, that is you being a protector. Then what happens after you've eaten your food? Your stomach digests food and your intestines assimilate and distribute all the required minerals and vitamins to all your body parts. Thus, what are they doing? They are providing, isn't it, nutrition to each and every part of your organs and systems inside of your body. So there is a provider. And your legs serve you as you travel on all sorts of paths. Sometimes you walk on rocky roads, sometimes you balance properly, all of that. What are they doing? They are assisting you, isn't it? Your legs. So they always assist you wherever you want to go. You can say that they are serving you as a carer. So now, Rennie, do you agree? All four are inside of you? Yes. So we can relate to all four, isn't it? All four need not be so different. The student immediately says, oh, this is a great perspective. So, how can we discriminate when we have all four in ourselves? So, when we don't follow any discrimination of any sort among people and do our every action without having any specific expectations, our life will become better and we will be happy in life. It's so simple, isn't it? We need to stop discriminating. That is very important. No matter what, many times we feel we have the right to discriminate. But what happens when we discriminate? We try to give logic and reason. This is on this basis I am discriminating. But what happens then? We become small, we stop growing. So, for that, at least for growing, for becoming a better, let's stop discriminating. The teacher says, yes, this is all. What we need to go beyond pain and pleasure and experience the bliss of existence, the bliss of happiness. This is the real purpose of human life. All the best to you and your family. And that is where the teacher completes. Chapter 18's points to ponder. Number one, understand the four pillars of the society. Know that all are equally essential and never discriminate. 2. People are basically of 4 different temperaments, likings, and missions. 3. Every individual is born with a purpose. The lineage of an individual has no bearing for an individual who has realized his or her mission. This is an important part, no? The one who has realized his mission, his or her mission, he is decided to grow. For that purpose, when that purpose is understood by a person, that's all. Means we must recognize the purpose of our birth. That is very important. So, with this, we conclude today's session. I think we still have half an hour. Do you think we try going to the next chapter, Rini? Yes? All right, then it is the last chapter, which is very interesting. You know what is the title? Nobody can teach anything to anybody. Now, what is this? We were just talking about teachers
No,
and
this is the
everything.
entire opposite of what we learned.
Yeah, is it? That's the question, isn't it? It looks like it is opposite. But we will see now. I'll just share the image illustration into the group. And if you would like to, we can even complete this chapter today. So that way you will not miss.
So I doubt I'll be able to because I still have a lot of portions to complete for school.
Means today you have to, we want to conclude today's session with this.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, then we will, then I think Vishwa has just joined. Then we will look at it on maybe Wednesday then. No, yeah, yes. So Wednesday you have your exams, isn't it? So then, do you want to continue right now or we conclude today because you have some work?
So I think we can conclude today because I haven't done much on my portions.
All right, then. Fine. So then we conclude today. So we're just in maybe since you'll be missing out on the next session, I'll tell it to you in short. You can always catch up in the videos later on in 2 minutes. All right. So because I have given you a question which is undoing what you have understood previously. Nobody can teach anything to anybody. Now, what is the meaning of that? Well, it is talking about, if you want to understand in short, it is about what can the teacher teaches to everybody or not in the class, in your school. One teacher teaching 60 students, 50 students, 40 students. How many ever students are there in the class? But who understands it? All of them understand it? No, some people are there, some people are in la la land, somebody is thinking something else, somebody is trying to sneakily and eat something while the class goes on. So many such dramas go on. So the atmosphere is only created by the teacher for learning, but the learning happens when the student decides to learn. That is what. That is why when we do teacher training, also we say we are going to introduce. The students will learn themselves when the atmosphere is ready. That is what is the meaning in short. But this chapter you can afterwards see in the next video, which will be shared in the group. All right. Any questions, anything you wish to ask or share, you're welcome. Or
No,
we
sir, I don't
conclude.
have any questions.
All right, then. So let's close the eyes for 2 minutes and then we conclude. All right. All right. Now we can before opening your eyes. All right then. Okay, Renee. So it was wonderful, this workshop. It was nice that you regularly attended.
Thank you, sir.
Looking forward. All right. So all the best for everything. These
Thank
links
you,
will be
sir.
available online as well. All right.
Yes.
Best wishes.